Good morning. This is
Pro Walking and Karen Morley coming to you.
from Australia, and we are reading A Course of Love by Mari Perron. We're doing a study of it, and so chapter 7 is where we're up to today. That's pretty exciting. And what's even more exciting for me is that we actually have lots of the book left because I'm getting so much out of it. So, Karen, would you like to read verse chapter 7, verse 1, please?
Certainly. Withholding. A major thought reversal is required now before we can go on. It has been stated and emphasized countless times before, and it will be here as well. What you give, you will receive in truth. What you do not receive is a measure of what you withhold. Your heart is accustomed to giving in a way that your mind is not. Your mind would hold on to every idea for what it might bring you, and is resentful of those whose ideas do come to fruition and succeed in getting desirable things within this world. I had that idea, you lament, when another succeeds where you have failed. I could have been where that person is, if not the unfairness of life, you wail. Your mind dwells in a world of its own, made up largely of if onlys. Your heart, on the other hand, knows of giving and of a return not based on the world of your mind or a physical circumstance. Despite disappointments most severe, your heart knows that what you give, you receive in truth.
And yet you would withhold a piece of yourself even from love. And this is what we must correct. For what you withhold, you cannot receive. Oh, that's good. For what you withhold, you cannot receive. And you cannot receive a piece of heaven, nor a piece of God or your own self. You cannot receive a piece of your own self, Karen. Your giving must be total for you to receive in truth. You will concentrate more now, however, on withholding than on giving, and you do not yet understand what you would give, for you do not recognize what you have to give. You do, however, recognize what you withhold and can begin to recognize this in every situation. As the awareness of your withholding dawns upon your heart, you will begin to realize what you do not give, and with the realization, what you have to give. All right, that's really quite in your face today, isn't it? Let's have a look at it. A major thought reversal is required now before you can go on. All right. So they're asking us to switch things around and have a look at it from a different direction. And that's exactly what these two paragraphs have done for me. It's like shown me about how to see things differently. And if I'm withholding, which is we go on to have a look at, if I'm withholding, then I'm withholding not only from other people and from God, but from myself. So it has been stated and emphasized countless times, and it will be here as well. What you give, you will receive in truth.
That's powerful, that one. What you give, you will receive in truth. So it's really being aware of what's coming back to you, and that's sometimes an indication, I think, for me, as to, well, what am I putting out? What am I receiving back? Oh my goodness! So isn't that sort of a light bulb moment?
Yeah, and also, there are times, especially as children, but also as adults, where we shut down and put up walls and are unwilling to offer our true inner selves to people because it's unsafe, Karen. And I understand that path, you know. But when that happened for you, that may not be still happening now. So sometimes it's really important to check in and see if there's still walls there that we have up, particularly with triggers, and see if it's actually still happening and if it's still appropriate to have the wall. Because if we still have the wall, then we're keeping ourselves locked in. We're keeping ourselves locked in as well as other people out. And that may not be appropriate now. What you do not receive is a measure of what you withhold. What you do not receive is a measure of what you withhold. So whatever you are wanting in your life, give it. And look at where your heart seizes up. Look at where your mind goes into chaos or shut down, and see if it's appropriate. Your heart is accustomed to giving in a way that your mind is not. Exactly.
And I think for me, sometimes that's uncomfortable. Stepping outside of those safe spaces, those safe boundaries that I've put up for myself. And so, yeah, the heart is so totally different in the way it has no fear, it has no concern for protection because it knows it is the truth. So to me, that's a relief in that when I can let that be and let that go and allow that to be, that I don't have to do all of this putting up boundaries and walls and operating from that system. So to me, there's a glimmer of hope of a different way of being that's always been there. And I can tap in on that. I just have to practice it.
Yeah, and I think there's times when we walk down the street and we look everybody in the eye and we have a big smile and we're just in love with life, and that's when we're coming from the heart. But when we're coming and locked into our thought system, and we're unwilling to give from our heart, you know, we walk with our eyes down. We won't look at someone. We're terrified when they say hello to us. You know, that's particularly in the city, you know, you just don't know what people want. What do you want if you're smiling at me? What do you want if you say hello? What do you want if you look me in the eye, you know? Quick, hide. And that's basically what this chapter is saying, you know, like, we need to reverse the way we think in order to get out of our heads and into our heart. Your mind would hold on to every idea of what it might bring, and is resentful of those whose ideas do come to fruition and succeed in getting desirable things in the world. Yeah, how often do we hear someone's won the lottery, you know, or we look at these huge houses and you know, someone says they've got a nanny. Imagine that. Imagine that as a young wife with, you know, like two young kids who are better acting out. My daughter has two boys, and oh boy, are they giving her a hard time at the moment. You know, and I think, you know, what would it be like for her to have a nanny? You know, so we do desire the things of the world, don't we?
Yeah. And even
And
coming up with an idea that you think might help. I know at work too, you know, I came up with a thought that might help and it was seen as, oh, that's a great idea. But whether that was acknowledged that it came from me or not. You know, the ego pops in and go, "Hey, that was me."
Mm.
But really, it's an idea that has sprung up and offered. So it doesn't matter where it comes from. Really,
Yeah.
it's there, and it's there to make things a much better place in the world and in the workplace too. So yes, but I can feel that ego going, yeah, but look at me, that was me.
I had that idea, you lament, when another succeeds and when you have failed. Yeah, we're all looking for the original thought, aren't we? And yet all we're doing really is tapping into the collective consciousness that knows everything, you know. And our mind can't know everything. Our mind is corrupted. It's a dysfunctional program. But the heart is a different matter altogether. I could have been where that person is if not for the unfairness of life, you wail. Yeah, that's unfair. And what was it? What was that phrase that Malcolm Fraser said? Oh, life wasn't meant to be easy. Remember that? It was a big catch.
I know the phrase, but I didn't know it came from him.
Yeah, life wasn't meant to be easy was his catchphrase, and it was all over the news for a while, and people were walking around going, "Oh well, life's not meant to be easy," you know. It's actually if we reverse that thought, Karen, life is meant to be easy, and why are we making it so hard?
Yeah, totally. And it's so easy to slip into that, oh, life's unfair to me, you know, woe is me, you know, this has happened to me. And really to sink into that hole of swimming in that. And it's so easy to be drawn into it and to be sucked down into it. And just,
Mm,
for me, it's like getting that glimmer of, oh my goodness, that's what I'm doing to myself,
mm,
and making another choice. So not
yes,
allowing it to suck me right down into the dregs of it all and lament within it. But it's like, oh, I've got a choice here. Isn't that great? I can choose to get out of here and think differently. And that to me has been so liberating to know I have a choice.
yeah, exactly. So your mind dwells in a world of its own made up largely of if onlys. If only, if only, if only. Your heart, on the other hand, knows of giving and of a return not based on the world of your mind or a physical circumstance. I think it's also about letting go of materialism. You know, we have such strong desires for um, to have. You know, we spend all our life working hard to have. You know, and what if you could let materialism go and just appreciate what you've got and go into gratitude for Mother Nature and everything that she provides and everything you actually have. And the thing for me is that that's the magic moment when you go into gratitude for what you've got. You get more of that, Karen. You know, everything comes to you easily. And we have this mindset that everything's got to be hard, everything's got to be struggle. And everything's unfair, and everything we have to fight for everything we have, and we have to go through pain and suffering to get. You know, it's like it's it's totally the reverse. The reverse is the truth, which is just being gratitude for what you have, and you get more of that.
Mm. And for me, there is a peace and contentment. It's like a blanket comes over me, a warm, snuggly blanket when I start living in gratitude and not letting those other little things niggle away at me, but
Mm,
to actually search out and see the things I'm really grateful for. And it changes my whole brainwave pattern for the day
mm,
by doing that. And
yeah.
even at night as I go off to sleep, you know, the things I'm grateful for helps me be in a different state to go enter into that dreamlike world. Yeah.
Mm. So your heart, on the other hand, knows of giving and of return, not based on the world of your mind or your physical circumstances. Despite disappointment most severe, your heart knows that what you give, you receive in truth. And that reminds me of wanting something so badly and not getting it. And that disappointment comes up, Karen. But down the track, if you can accept and surrender to what is, it becomes easy to be in the world. But while you're fighting it, it takes you straight into depression and why didn't I get that and poor me. Whereas if you go into gratitude and just simply be present with what is rather than what you want, you'll find that very, very, very quickly something better will come along. That's the most amazing thing for me, is to know that, oh, okay, let's be curious about that. Let's be fascinated that I didn't get what I wanted. Must be something better coming. Ooh, let's get excited about that. Would you like to pull the next bit apart, Karen?
Totally. And yet, you would withhold a piece of yourself even from love. And this is what we must correct. Yeah, isn't that so easy for me just to see all the angst and the heartache and the things that I perceive aren't working in my life? But to actually change that and see it from a different perspective, to see it from what is. This is what it is. But to see I don't know, Mum used to say the silver lining in the cloud. So instead of looking at the cloud and the rain, you see the beautiful silver lining that's there, that silver piece. And to see that, and it's like that glows even brighter than all the other things that you can see, the rain and the cloud, even though rain's beautiful in itself. But it's just seeing it differently and correcting that thought pattern of, oh, it's raining again. Um, Instead, wow, it's nourishing the earth. Look at this, or yeah. So for me, that is beautiful, to be a reminder of bringing myself back to that place of love and being present. I think being present, instead of my mind going zoom, 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 zoom off into thinking of things that might, really upset me or what cause me angst, it's coming back, always coming back, coming back, coming back.
And withholding a piece of yourself, even from love. You know, um, when I really am honest and truthful with myself, Karen, and look at my relationship with the joining in with others. Sometimes I walk into a room and I will withhold parts of myself until I feel safe. And everything is to do with safety with me, because I had such a victimized experience in my life. So I now measure everything by the measure of safety. And so I guess when I walk into a room, I make sure I'm safe before I can really open up and give of myself. And, even on a train, we get on a train late at night and we think, oh, am I safe? And so I can really understand that withholding when we're not in a place of safety, and we can withhold lots of things. We can withhold our truth until we feel safe to share it, So I think it's worth having a look today, or even as we progress along in our joining with other people from the heart, of having a look of what our measure is and whether we do feel safe and what it is we hold back when we don't feel safe. You know, you may be holding back the truth because you're going to lose your job if you don't. You may be holding back the truth because you're going to lose your partner if you don't. And yet, it's saying here that the parts of you that you basically withhold from others, you're withholding from God and from yourself. So, when you give those parts from the heart, you receive more of from the heart. When you give those thoughts from the head, you're receiving more from the head. I mean, I don't know if you enjoy a head conversation, Karen, where we're all rolling around in our ego, having opinions, thoughts, judgments, and perceptions. But I don't enjoy those conversations anymore at all. Oh, hang on. You're
I get a lot of frustration when the interactions are not sinking into that heart space and operating from who you truly are. I actually get a little bit irritated.
Ooh, you're working on irritation.
Irritating and impatient that I really want to meet this person where they are, where they truly are. And not just this, talking about the weather or talking about all the problems in life. It's like I just want to hear you. I want to hear you, not all the angst that's going on in your head. I want to hear and I want to experience you, the beautiful you who you are, and to see that starting to shine and to open up. And that withholding is so important. For me, that's a trigger to go, okay, I'm not receiving. Oh, what am I holding back? What am I holding back? What am I trying to protect here? What am I doing? And that I think I'll use that as a real guide for me in the day. Is when I'm not coming from that heart space or that feeling of joy and love, towards whatever is around me. Just as a trigger. Okay, what am I holding back? What's going on that I'm holding back? And do I really need to use that, or can I step into a different place? So to me, that's going to be a very good trigger for me today. I want to see that piece of heaven. I want to be living in that space.
Can you read that bit?
Yeah. For what you withhold, you cannot receive, and you cannot receive a piece of heaven, nor know a piece of God or your own self. Your giving must be total for you to receive in truth. I suppose at the moment, there's only little bits of that I'm giving, but the more that I give of that, I'm seeing that I will get more. Not that that's what my aim is to get more of, but it's just to live in that space.
Why not? Why not have an aim for the wholeness of life?
Yeah. To be in that space of just being and giving from the heart. Oh, how amazing that would be for the rest of my life here on earth, for me to be in that space. That is what I desire the most.
Yes, and not just giving though, Karen, but receiving as well. Because
I believe in giving, not giving from a victim mentality, like I'll give this and I'll get that back, but giving truly from the heart and being present. I believe it comes back anyway. It's not like I'm giving to get something back. There's a condition to this. No, it's the giving, but truly from the heart, not from psychologically going, oh, well, if I do this, I will get that back. And no, I want to operate from the true giving from the heart, because I know I get joy from that.
So the challenge from that, Karen, for me is saying yes to everything. It's like, okay, I'm focused on giving from the heart. Am I willing to let other people give from their hearts to me?
Mm.
You know? And am I willing to receive that with gratitude and excitement and fascination and curiosity and, oh, what's coming next, you know? And when you're open like that, the universe is able to give to you, you
Mm.
know?
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Where are we up to?
Your giving must be total for you to receive in truth. We will concentrate more now, however, on withholding than on giving. For you do not yet understand what you would give, for you do not recognize what you have to give.
So that's exactly what we were just saying.
Mm.
And you were just saying you're going to concentrate on giving, and that's what it's saying. We're going to concentrate on we will concentrate more now, however, on withholding than giving, because if you're concentrating on the opposite, you want to concentrate on your giving. Concentrate on what you're withholding first, in order to see what you need to give, or where you need to open to give.
Like putting a spotlight on it, isn't it? So
Yeah.
not letting it just be in the presence of you without you consciously being aware of it, but putting a spotlight on it and going, hey, look at this. This is what's going on. Choose again.
Yeah. You do, however?
You do, however, recognize what you withhold and can begin to recognize this in every situation. I suppose for me, it's like putting the spotlight on this, recognizing it, being alert to it first. Otherwise, how can you change it if you're not aware of it? If you're just operating out of that system without questioning it.
And we started off with the first sentence, which said a major thought reversal is required.
Mm.
So we come back to the basics of what's not working for us when we're withholding, and look at that. Really shine a torch on it, like you're saying.
Mm. So, as the awareness of your withholding dawns upon your heart, you will begin to realize what you do not give. And with that realization, what you have to give.
Yep. So let's do everything us about today.
That's a challenge. I like that challenge.
Mm,
Just do the opposite.
exactly. Especially when you feel yourself freezing up inside, which is, something that we do. If you're feeling yourself to being unsafe, have a look what safety would look like in that moment. Like, is it safe? Is it really unsafe? What's unsafe about it? What would happen if you were, you know,
Yeah.
not withholding? Yeah, that's a fun game. Let's do that today.
Challenge, but I like it.
All right, beloveds. That's it for me and Karen this morning. And I hope you have a beautiful, loving day and have fun looking at what you're withholding. Bye for now.